Yes.
All right, repeat after me. All power to the people.
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 All right, for those of y'all who are just meeting me for the first time, my name is Fidelis. I am the chairman of our organization, the Vanguard. We're the ones that are hosting this community gathering today. If you've been to the previous ones, we try to do these about once a month. And as always, thank you to Ray, who was very generous to allow us to use the space to host these gatherings, as we have been doing throughout the year. So today, the main thing that we want to be talking about is our People's Platform in relation to the responses that we have been able to get from candidates on the platform. And so just to kind of go through the agenda first, introducing what the new Vanguard is. So what we are a grassroots organization, and our main focus is engaging our community, especially around issues and matters of local politics and economics. One of the things that we have found as we have been working in the community is a lot of people have been unfortunately very disengaged with the things that happen in their community. And I think that especially with this past election, the presidential election that we had, a lot of people are starting to wake up and are looking for ways in which they can go about addressing some of the issues that they find to be most urgent in their communities. And so for us, we think that the best way to go about doing that is really taking a grassroots approach and building with the people that are around you in your community and starting with the issues that most directly affect the people that are around you. And so the People's Platform is something that we have been working on for a few months now. We had the first meeting about this platform in June. But the idea for it came about in a meeting that we had back in April, where we met with some folks in the community to kind of talk about what it is that they would like to see change in their communities, what are some initiatives that they would like to see in the Milledgeville and Baldwin County community. And one of the ideas that came out of that was this idea that all politics is local. And essentially what that referred to is that with a lot of the things that we're seeing happening at the state and federal level, that the ways in which we're going to be able to address that is to start by building from a local level and with local people. And so from that also came the idea of wanting to have a People's Platform. And so what this platform is essentially a 10-point demand platform that was developed throughout the period of about 3 months, where we met with community members and talked about what the grievances are of people in this community, what they felt that their most urgent issues were. And from there, we condensed it into about 10 points that we could use to build this platform. And the platform is not just something that we wanted to use for this upcoming municipal election, but something that we wanted to have for a long-term strategy. So for us, it's all about taking a proactive approach instead of a reactive one, right? And so this platform will be something that we'll be able to use throughout the years as we work in the community around certain issues, and hopefully be able to get some of these things addressed in a manner that is satisfactory to our community members and really does improve their quality of life. And so what we did recently as we sort of finalized the platform is that we sent it out to all the candidates that are running in the current municipal election as sort of an immediate action we felt that we could take with this platform. And so we sent it out, and those of you who are on an email list received an email that kind of detailed what was in what we sent out to the candidates. And the main kind of points that were in that email was, one, explaining to them that the platform is not something that we would be using to endorse any candidates, because for us it's about building around the issues and not building around candidates. We think that it's much more sustainable to build around issues, but also in the matter of politics. When we think about politics, politicians are public servants, and we feel that it's best, for us the best case scenario is creating an environment in which people don't feel that they have to have loyalty or attachment to one candidate or another, but rather make it a matter of principles, make it a matter of what the issues are that are most important to you, and be able to build around those issues. And so in the email, we had a response form that candidates could go through and respond to it, decide whether they wanted to make a commitment to the platform, And then towards the end of the platform, we had a question that we asked them where they could give an open-ended answer. And we'll go through some of those answers later on. And so when we sent it out, we basically got commitments from 4 of the candidates who are listed there. So mayoral candidate Walter Reynolds, District 2 candidate Arlene Simmons, District 4 candidate Morgan Pendergast, and District 6 candidate Kayla Brownlow. We also got some responses from other candidates that were not necessarily commitments, but people who were either open to learning more about the platform or wanted to have a conversation about it. So District 2 candidates Brook Snider and Shadonna Solomon responded, and District 6 candidate Dr. Jeff Wells also responded to the platform as well. And then the rest of the candidates we did not get any responses from. And so if we, on the second page, you can see the written responses that we got based on the open-ended question that was in that response form. And essentially what that question was, because we have a 10-point platform, we didn't want to have everybody, give us an open response to all 10 points. One, because we understand that everybody is not running for the same reasons, or everybody doesn't have the same priorities. So we decided to ask them, well, based on what their priorities are, what is one policy or initiative that they would bring to the table as a member of the city council to support one of the points on the platform that aligns with their priorities. And so, as you can see here from the 4 candidates who committed to the platform, they gave their different responses. And so, I'm going to kind of summarize what's in the responses. Mayoral candidate Walter Reynolds essentially gave full support of the platform and said that he'd like to see city leadership support this platform, along with things like the Georgia Safe Housing Home Act and other things to reevaluate things like access to food and other issues in our community, such as public transportation. District 2 candidate Arlene Simmons spoke about child care more specifically, and mentioned that she's been working on initiatives around child care, particularly on the Southside, and as a current officer on the Central State Redevelopment Authority, is helping to make decisions to bring resources, jobs, and entertainment to the Southside. Morgan Pendergast, running for District 4, talked about things surrounding more walkable and bikeable communities and access to public transportation. And Kayla Brownlow talked about some more general things, touched on the different levels at which some of these issues will need to be addressed, but that city still has a role to play in making meaningful strides and support for this community in these aspects. And so she talked about partnerships with organizations, creating space for dialogue, focusing on areas where the city council has more direct control, such as zoning, development, code enforcement, etc. And so when you have time, you can read through those responses in more depth. And so the reason why we wanted to do that is, one, we understand, and as I've stated to candidates as well, we understand that every single one of these issues, in the many various ways in which they need to be addressed, will not all be able to be addressed solely at a local level, or even primarily at a local level. But in line with what we hope to do with this platform, is that this is not a platform that will only be limited to local level campaigns. There are a lot of state level campaigns that are going on around these issues, around housing, public transportation, those kinds of things. And then even federal level campaigns as well. But I think that the most important thing is for us to have local leadership that is in support of the things that the people want. Because if we go to the state level or we go to the federal level, and let's say a decision does come down or resources do come down, we have seen in other scenarios in other communities where local leadership has been the main obstacle to resources that could have been helpful to their communities. And so for us, it's about taking a proactive approach and seeing that we have a local leadership that is in support of these things, so that in the event in which we're able to have successful state level and federal level campaigns, we don't have obstacles at the local level that could have been addressed more proactively to that. And so today I also want to acknowledge that we have Brook Snider with us, District 2 candidate, and he did respond to our platform, saying that he wanted to, the reason he didn't make the commitment, I'll allow him to also explain in his own words, was that, you know, he needed to look more into it and didn't want to make an immediate commitment and wanted to learn more about it, understand all the different things surrounding the platform and the things that were on those demands lists. And so, Mr. Snider, if you want to talk more about your thoughts on the platform and what brought you here today with us, and we're thankful to have you today.
You want me to come up? Or?
Oh yeah, if you'd like to come up, but if you want to stand up where you're at, it's fine.
Well, I'm very, hi, I'm Brook Snider. How you doing? I didn't directly commit because as Della said, I need more research into all aspects of this because it's not a simple yes or no, yeah, I like it, no, I don't like it. In theory, all these concepts would be productive and beneficial. The bottom line is finances. To play off, I'm going to come back to that in just a second, to play off what you were saying about local government, some of the ordinances that Milledgeville has are decades, multiple decades, 50, 60 years old, and they retard local business. It is so difficult for new businesses to come in just because they're not supported directly by the city ordinances. Simple things. Parking is a big one, off the top of my head. They've been talking about a parking deck. I've lived here my whole life. I'm 60 years old. I've lived here 60 years. I spent 3 years in the military. I've lived in District 2, 25 years. And they've talked about a parking deck since the 80s, but nobody's done anything. To facilitate all the points on your sheet, ordinances have to be changed to support business, and we have to get businesses in Milledgeville. One way to do that is Central State. I personally am not happy with how that has transpired over time. Both my parents retired from Central State. I'm about to retire. I grew up in the Jones building. That's where my mother worked. And I don't know why it's taken so long to facilitate large businesses. I'm not talking about 5 or 6 employees. I'm talking about 200 or 300 employees. They're making progress now. The board has shifted. The state has got some more control. Don't really know if that's going to be good or bad. I'm going to jump around a lot. Sorry for that, because a lot of things come to my head. The transparency issue for the local government, to me, that's a no-brainer. Information is there, but it's impossible to find. You have to know exactly where to go, the exact terms to type in, and I support that 100%. Everything every council member or commissioner does should be at a click of the mouse. You see what they've decided on, what the budget is, everything should be up there. That goes with the board at Central State also. Exact same process should apply to them. Who are they talking to? What are they talking about? What are the monies being discussed? Who's involved? What are their future plans? Does anybody know? Has anybody heard? No, there's nothing. Just hit and miss. That ties into housing. Unfortunately, most of District 2 is rental property. Because the people, when Central State was huge, everybody owned their houses. Well, those people have passed away. They did well, they sent their children to college. Children don't want to live here anymore. Some of us do, but not all. Parents pass away, they get their house. They don't want to live here, but they can rent it. And unfortunately, not all renters, but some renters, and I hate to use this term, but I don't know what other term to use, are pseudo-transient. They're not vested in the community for a long period of time because they don't know what's going to happen. And some of them, the way the rent is, because of the double-edged sword of the college, we make tons of money, the city, from the college, local businesses, but that also raises the prices of homes and rental property. This is going to come together in a minute, trust me. For us to be able to support any of these directives you have on here, all of them, every single one, we have to get more business to create more taxes, to create incomes for people. Subsidized housing don't mean free housing. You still have to contribute. Nothing's free. So people need jobs. If you raise taxes on homeowners who already own property, the people who want to buy a home still can't buy a home. They can't afford the home, they can't afford the down payment, they're not going to afford to pay the taxes. Now, not that you shouldn't raise taxes, that's going to happen intermittently all the time, and that's fine. Bringing the businesses in with decent incomes, decent insurance, all these address multiple points on your sheet. We have to do that. Central State is the perfect area to do that. How many acres is it? Like 1,000? Yes, it's huge. They could do anything. They could bring anything. There was a Hyundai plant that wanted to build here. Did y'all know that? Yeah, on the bypass. Did y'all hear about that? Hyundai wanted to build on the bypass. But the city would not support providing them with water. So they said, no, we can't go there. Does everybody feel that's as ridiculous as I do?
Yes.
Now, they would only provide a few hundred jobs, but guess what? Those few hundred jobs for decent money bring in more people. Support the school system. Their families come in, they visit. Word of mouth. They say, hey, so-and-so had to move to Milledgeville to work at their new job. And oh, it's a beautiful place. They got a river. They got a nice college. They got trails, bike trails, hiking trails. Like you can go kayaking, you can go fishing, you can go to the lake. But that will stop. So I guess my rambling is kind of sum up. We have to bring in corporations and businesses to provide a larger tax base. If we do that, which is going to be hopefully what I can do when I get in, first thing I'll do is alter the ordinances. I want to go in and read everything and find out where the, lack of a better word, the ignorance is. We have to plan for the future. That's the problem we're having now with the water system. Nobody planned. They knew. Everybody knows. There should have been a program in place 50 years ago. Bonds, investments, to plan to replace the water pipes. You know they're going to go bad. A lot of other cities do that. You have a contingency. It's not just happenstance. We get corporations in, get money in. More people move here. Word of mouth. Then you can address that. Increases diversity, which brings in more state and federal money. So it's a win-win for everybody. Did that make sense? Good enough? Mm-hmm. We have to get people here, and that allows local people in the community to open up a small grocery store, to access local farmers, bringing in fresh produce, other than just McDade's, which I love, by the way. Does anybody have any questions of me?
And I was going to say we can move into asking questions. For everyone to know, all candidates were invited. So, if anybody had any questions that they wanted to ask based on the platform to Mr. Snider, this would be a good time. We can sort of engage in that conversation, especially because we are in District 2, and so this is, what he's running for. And so many of you are interested in knowing more about his platform, his initiatives, policies, things he wants to make happen if he's elected to City Council. We can go ahead and open it up for that conversation.
I'd like to ask a question right quick.
Yeah.
There's something really, I've been sitting and doing a lot of work on the water system out here. There's a lot of pipes in Milledgeville bad like that or something?
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
The
All
whole
of them.
city.
The whole city. They haven't been replaced in 100 years.
That's why around winter time we're always having issues. Like it took the city 2 months back in January to come out and fix a leak that was springing like right in front of my house, and I'm talking about it was pouring down into my neighbors, and it flooded out my neighbor's yard because of the slant of it's so hilly in my neighborhood. 2 months. It was like right after something froze. It was a bad weather thing, and then the pipes froze, thawed out, and yeah.
But they did get federal money. I forget what it was called. It was a couple $1 million, if I'm not mistaken, to come in and do some work. But that doesn't get everything. That just gets some of it. It's very expensive. As an example, on the old Hodges Furniture Store downtown on West Franklin, I have a martial arts school there.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We had our sewage just bust up through the asphalt because it's got cast iron into terracotta.
Oh, we just had that problem.
Yeah, and the city, there was a water leak up by CBS. They had to dig that up 3 different times. When they cut off everything, sewage, everything. They went in there and fixed it. When they cut it back on, they just opened the valve all the way. So that just shot up and flooded my toilet. I had to replace my carpet. There was feces. It took me 3 gallons of Clorox and about 5 hours of cleaning. All they had to do was tell somebody or not open the gate full force. Of course, I went and complained, and I talked to a lawyer. They have sovereign immunity.
Of course they do.
So I
What
couldn't.
kind of immunity?
Sovereign immunity.
Can you explain that for people?
If they do not, if the act is not malicious, you can't sue the city. Yeah. Now, the fact that they let the lines go deteriorate over the last 100 years, to me, that's malicious right there. Yeah. But I could have got a lawyer and fought it, but it only cost me, I think, about $600 or $700, and the lawyer would cost more than that. So I might could have fought it, but that was the word I got. We have sovereign immunity. And not just my place, the rental property next door, they had to do their two rooms with the floors. Happened to other places.
At my son's ABA benchmark, they were having sewage issues about a month or 2 ago. So was that around that time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's when they were doing the work about a year ago.
Oh, okay.
It was about a year ago.
Well, this
But
was
it's
just
always
recently.
something.
Yeah, it's just a mess. It's literally.
Well, you know we have a problem with fire hydrants around here, you know, because that's why
That's why they're covered.
on the next street.
No, that's not why they're covered.
They're covered because the pressure's too low.
But yeah, but they're still functional. They're just
But
not
it's
good
too
enough.
low
And
to-
the ones that are covered are going to be replaced. They are okay. They work. They just don't work as good as they should.
They're not up.
Actually, they don't work as good as they're required to work. That's why they had somebody come in and survey, and they're going to replace those. And I believe they got money to do that. Otherwise, the feds will fine them. So you know how that works.
Do you know if that's why our water bill has gone up and has
No.
one more
No.
phase to go up?
No, I've gone to almost every city council meeting for the past 3 years. I've been kind of training Ms. Walden. I'm trying to replace her, and she's been my mentor. We just had a mutual family member that I was approached by several people to run years ago, but I knew there's no way I could beat her. So I was waiting. I met her, and she said she was getting ready to retire. But the water bills went up because they did not raise water bills over like the past 18 years or more when they should have. There should have been an incremental increase every so often. They lack of preparation.
Right.
Nobody wanted to get voted out. So they waited so long, they were forced to raise them so quickly. So now our water bills, even though they're terrible, is more in line with other communities because they had the good sense to raise them slowly over a 20-year period instead of 3 times in a 2-year period.
Right.
So it's a shock to us, but it's relative to the current, everything, all prices over increased. They had to redo the pump as a water department, so it just happened. And that's detrimental to people on fixed incomes.
Right.
You can't plan for
If
that.
you do it incrementally over time, which they should have done, then it doesn't affect, you can adjust.
Right.
That is part of the reason that I decided to run, is I want to go in and revamp the ordinances for everybody and start a process to facilitate future needs. It's a no-brainer. You know what's going to go bad. You know prices go up over time. Inflation is forever. Why don't you prepare? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Also, were the increase about those bonds that they're getting in order to pay for all of these repairs for the water bill, the pipes and stuff, isn't that another reason for the increase?
No,
No?
no. No, the water bill is straight. They didn't do what they should have done for 20 years.
Okay. So what about those bonds though? I remember I went to, it was about 2 months ago, a gentleman came down from Atlanta pitching bonds to the council.
Yeah, they applied for them, and he.
So that hasn't gone
So
through?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm still a candidate.
Right.
So I went to the same meeting you do.
Yeah.
And they're in process and they're getting money to do stuff, but I don't know what the status of that is.
So when those do go through, will we get another increase on our water bill?
No, that's free money.
Oh.
We kind of borrow, the bonds are like, they kind of borrow money.
But borrowed money has to be paid back,
Well,
right?
eventually, but hopefully you get other subsidies. You may have to, but it won't be the water bill going up, it'll be taxes, there'll be a
Taxes.
splosh or something like that. It'll be general, don't just put that on a bill, that'll be on a larger tax base.
Oh, okay.
That's how they pay it back.
But I have a question.
Okay.
I stayed in a 3-storage apartment over there on North Jefferson, over there in the projects. And we be charged for water. At first they said we didn't have to pay any water. So now we have to pay water bill. How can they estimate in an apartment complex how much water we using?
I don't know, I've never owned an apartment building,
Yeah.
but I'm totally guessing here. Don't hold me to it, I'm totally guessing.
Mm-hmm.
I would think they have a meter and you see how many gallons you use, the whole building,
Yeah.
and then they divide that by the number of tenants. And then so if you use 300, 1,000 gallons, somebody else uses 200,
Mm-hmm.
too bad.
Right.
It's just, well, I think they probably, I don't think, they just have one meter or a meter per apartment?
I've never seen nothing but one.
Okay.
And my water bill for this month was $75, and I live alone. And I got a washer and a dryer, yes, true. But it's just me. I don't have a lot of clothes to be washed.
Right.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you got one meter, they probably just divide everybody's
Yeah.
apartment into that bill. And if
Well,
it's any consolation, we live, my wife and I, we got a washer and dryer, we live together, our bill is $88.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just wanted to know because, I just thought maybe it wasn't fair. Because really and truly, you can't estimate an apartment complex what people using.
They don't estimate, they just divide it by the number of tenants. What you might want to do is look at your agreement, your rental agreement.
I did.
If it's in there that the water's included,
No, at first it was no water. We didn't have to pay water. All of a sudden, we started receiving water bills.
but what's in the rental agreement?
It's no water?
It says no water will be charged?
Yes.
Well, then all of y'all should get together and go talk to a lawyer.
That's what we trying to do.
If the rental agreement says water is included, then they can't charge you for water.
Yes. And
They have
another
to eat that with the
question,
rent.
and another question I want to ask, okay, like if you pay, they used to let us split our rent, cause it's cheaper rent, it's not affordable housing, it's cheaper rent. They used to let us split it, but now you can't split your rent. And then like I went to pay my rent the 13th, and then they had put November rent in. So I told them I don't get paid like that. You cannot make me pay November rent.
Well, again, you need to read your rental agreement.
I did, and that's not on there.
Well, then, there you
And I
go.
talked to a lawyer, I already talked to a
Okay.
lawyer, and they said that's not supposed to be happening.
Well, then y'all need, the best thing to do is get everybody together.
Some gonna be scared, you know, cause they're scared they're gonna get evicted, but you cannot evict nobody
No.
because they wanna know.
Well, they can do that, but if you got a lawyer, then
Yeah.
that makes it worse for them.
Yeah,
They can threaten you, but they technically can't do it, especially if you're already talking to a lawyer. Because they can stop that in a heartbeat.
well, thank you for the information, I just wanted to know.
The more people you have, the better it happens, the faster it happens too.
Somebody back there.
I did have something. Hello, everyone. My name is Gail Young. I am a returning resident to the Milledgeville, Baldwin County, Hancock County area. Let's see, we're almost. So I have a lot of emotions, but basically, I'm a 20-year retiree of the United States Coast Guard, and then I worked for Department of Health and Human Services. And recently, I was terminated, one of 320,000 black women that were terminated from federal service, and many women are leaving the workforce today, not just people that look like me. That's very concerning, and I didn't really think or expect that I would be coming back to this area. Like you were saying, a lot of people don't want to return for whatever reason. The lack of jobs. I've been looking for a job since July. I have multiple degrees. I have multiple experience. I am a veteran, and it's like almost impossible. I've gotten 2 callbacks, 2 that will be next week. And when you talk about planning for the future, it's concerning that we can't even do the basics of providing water to people. Clean water pipes, we're talking about, this was known 100 years ago, and we did not prepare for that. What other things are we not preparing for? I think that we're not preparing for the political climate that we're in. It's very disturbing and disappointing to me that we have one candidate that is here that is willing to come forward and address the needs of the people. These are, yes, demands of people, things that we'd like to see. I've just returned to the community, and what I would have to say is when I read this platform, I said, oh my goodness, what is on this platform that people cannot get behind? Everything on here is something that would help our community, help the fellow community members, and something that would uplift Milledgeville, Baldwin County, and the surrounding areas. So the question I have for you, Mr. Snider, and thank you so much for being here today. I mean, it would be very disturbing if we did not have not one person to come here that was willing to represent the people, that is here to listen to the people. So my question for you is that what exactly motivates, because, you know, we're trying, like I volunteer around the community, and as you said, I've gone to city council meetings, county commission meetings, and you know, various organizations, nonprofit organization, NAACP, SCLC, New Vanguard. This is a very good grassroots organization. And my question is, what motivates you to be here, and what are the reasons? I know that you can't read anybody else's mind, but you said that you have experience and background here, you were born here. What do you think is preventing other candidates from being here or even responding to the voices of the people?
Well, I did not commit to these because, as he said earlier, I needed more research. I don't like yes or no answers because, unfortunately, things are more involved than that. It's, yeah, everybody, I can say, yeah, all these sound fantastic, and they are, but it's not as simple as just going, yeah, I love it. Well, if you love it, then how you going to get it to happen? I'm not about placating people. I want to know what I can do to actually do what they want done. And saying yes or no to something, saying yes to something, don't do anything. It just says yes. That's a word. I'm all about action. Why am I here? To be honest with you, why wouldn't I be here? I don't know why I wouldn't. What was the I don't know, I can't speak for them, they probably had other obligations or something, I don't know, but I don't know how to answer that. Because I don't know why am I here, because I'm supposed to be.
That's good.
I
Good
guess.
answer. And well, what could we do as a group to, reach out and, like you were saying, you needed more information, and everything. What would have made you're here, so, like you said, but.
Well, I need to, well, of course I'm a candidate, I'm gonna promote myself. I need to get in. My key points are I want industry to come where people can have income and people in District 2 can own their property, not have to rent their property. The only way to do that is bring industry in, get everybody on the same page. I want to change the ordinances to help businesses come here. Right now it's a fight. Did you know that the zoning, the people on the, what do you call it? Planning and zoning, the agents that go out, they're not even certified. They can't even write somebody that if they do something, a storefront, they have the
Like
wrong.
code enforcement?
Yeah, the code enforcement. Nobody's certified to do any fines. Really? That's the same as not having the water lines fixed over the last 100 years. Well, how can you not? And something else I just found out through happenstance, there are firemen riding fire trucks that aren't certified. They can't even go into a fire. They're getting paid to ride the truck and stand there and watch. Why aren't they certified? Well, they're not. They can't do anything. They're not certified to go in and save somebody. They just stand there and watch it burn while the other people go in. Really? How hard is it to get somebody certified? You can't give them. I mean, they got to have a class somewhere at some time.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a perfect explanation for what I watched up there at Planet Fitness was a car on fire. Truck came by. It took 25 minutes for them to put out that fire, even put water on the fire. I have a video of it.
Yeah.
And the truck came in, left, and came back like maybe 10 minutes later. But that would explain because they didn't have anybody to actually.
That's insane.
I was approached by. I've lived here my whole life, so I kind of know everybody. My wife and I, we live downtown, so we go downtown all the time. I'm familiar with the business owners. We don't hang out or anything, but we know each other. And they actually told me about 5 years ago, said, "Hey man, why don't you run for city council?" He said, "You messed them up." He said, "Because I don't hold nothing back. If you ask me a question, I'm going to give you an answer. You might not like it, but I'm going to give it to you." I've seen so much stuff that needs to be done that just isn't getting done. City council and county commissioners, they don't work together. They have lately been talking, but they haven't done anything. People have been in office for decades, and they have these grudges against each other for stuff I don't even know about. But I've been told that they have, and that's ridiculous. You should let go of your ego. Your job is to help your constituents. Get off your high horse just because somebody pissed you off one time and didn't do what you wanted to do. Grow up. Yes.
I had a question about what's your position on the tax, like giving corporations tax breaks to come here?
Well, that kind of depends on the corporation, and you also have to think if they do that, that still brings taxes in. Because people come in and buy houses, they go to schools, they buy food, they buy downtown, they go to restaurants. That's one of those things where sometimes it's the lesser of two evils. If you don't do that and they don't come at all, then you get nothing. So you want nothing or you want something.
Maybe you say, well, they have to give a living wage to people.
Well, there is a federal wage, minimum wage.
That's too low.
Well, but that is the wage, so they're obligated to do that. And you, as a citizen, you're obligated to get that job or not. Should they raise the minimum wage? Yes, they should.
We need
I do,
good health,
but that's
workers need good health care. They need benefits.
that is true. And when you
I would
have
stipulate this would need to happen for you to be able to come here.
Well, that's what Central State was supposed to do. They were supposed to bring in businesses, and there was a charter that gave criteria of what the businesses were supposed to present, and then they ignored it. Because they have no oversight, because they don't have the transparency.
Yeah.
So that goes right back to that. You could do that, they were supposed to do that. They might be doing that now, I don't know, nobody knows.
Yeah.
But I know they didn't do it before. That's one reason the state took it back over. Now, I don't know how directly they're gonna be involved, even though they took it back. I don't know how that dynamic is gonna work. I don't know if they're gonna see what's gonna happen. But, you know, are they gonna wait 1 year, 5 years? You know, what's happening in the meantime? You know, why don't we know what's happening?
And two things. One, to the first point about the platform, I just want to make everybody understand, just because somebody committed to the platform doesn't mean we believe it. Right? So, so people who say what they need to say to get elected, so just because they committed to it doesn't mean we believe them. And again, you know, we see who's showing up, you know, we see who is coming out to hear the concerns of the community. To your point, there was also something we discussed at our second meeting when putting the platform together, which was something called a community benefits agreement. And so, and part of the work that we did in looking things up in terms of not just what our local government can do, but what the community itself can do, community benefits agreement are a sort of legally binding contract between a community and a new business that stipulates what that community wants from that business before that business can establish itself in that community. So there are ways to go about those kinds of things that may not be directly through city council, but that communities can organize, you know, maybe through unions or other sort of more grassroots means to be able to get certain things from businesses as they come in. So whether it's, you know, they have to invest in affordable housing or, you know, those kinds of things. Some of the things you were talking about in regards to health and other benefits for their workers, that is something that communities can do. It's community benefits agreements. And so there's different ways in which those things can go about happening as well.
A lot of businesses will do that too.
Community benefits agreements?
Oh, yeah. They will do that. New Day. Y'all know about New Day?
What is
The big auditorium that was built at GMC?
that? I don't know about that.
Yeah, there's a company called New Day. They do loans to veterans. They're based in Florida, I believe. And they gave GMC over $1 million. They support, you know, GMC is a historically black college also.
How?
It's always been. It is.
What?
It
How?
is. They get funding, yes. The diversity in GMC gives them the credibility to be a historically black college.
Well, I think at the collegiate level that is true.
The collegiate level,
At the
yes.
collegiate level, the middle school and high school, no.
No.
At college, yes.
Yeah.
I do think
And
that's
New Day supports that. New Day supports the prep school. They gave, there's a, because of this, they wanted to improve the prep school for African Americans to participate. So they give scholarships to military families, particularly African American, to go to GMC. They have given millions of dollars. Yes. And they have scholarships. All you gotta do is go up there and ask.
I have a friend who has
Yeah.
four kids through those programs.
Mayor Copeland's child or something.
Grandchildren.
Whatever went there was part of that also. And so they're a company, a huge company, all over the United States that heard about Milledgeville, don't know how they did, in GMC, and they wanted to give money to help support the black community. Nobody knows that, right? Yeah.
I graduated from GMC. As a college that year, you went prep, right?
Yeah,
I did
this
college.
is just happened in the last.
Was you able to get any government funding to go there?
It's a
A
public
little
independence.
It's semi-private now. They do get some public funds, but not a lot. They only get that for the prep school, not the college.
Okay.
But because New Day is involved, that's why they were, part of the reason they were able to build the 5th and 6th grade. Yeah. And this new day just got involved, I think over the, I don't know,
That's 3 years.
well, no, they've been working on about six years or so.
Well, it has been an uptick in black folks going there, so that, okay.
There was a graduate that left, I think he left a couple $100,000. So all the uniforms are free now. Nobody pays for a uniform. He left an endowment, it's at least 100,000, if not more, that they invest, so all uniforms are free for everybody. Check it out. I graduated from Baldwin.
Right,
In the 80s, you know, when we had a good basketball team.
Girls and boys, 1990s, girls and boys.
80s were better. Just saying. Go back and look at school. Championship, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a lot of 80s fans over here. It's a lot of,
Yeah, and I think GMC just started doing some 4-year programs.
Yes,
Yeah.
they have a fantastic.
They got a business.
They have a fantastic online college. The online is actually helping support your GMC right now. They have nursing, introductory nursing, business, and they started a police training facility that you come here, and it's based on leadership, respect, diversity, and they got a mental health component too. Nobody knows that, do you? No, because it's like everybody who they work with all the sheriff's departments, all the police departments, and a lot of people come here for training.
So in terms of community benefits agreements, to your knowledge, is that something that happens through like an institution, or as I mentioned earlier, community members can?
That would be, I don't know specifics, you probably can research it, but yeah. But city council has to support that.
Right.
Yeah. I would definitely support that.
Community.
Yeah.
One question I did want to ask is in regards to housing. As we were putting this platform together, that was like the most pressing issue that came up from community members. And one of the most common things that has come up is in regards to renters and landlords and things like that. And so I wanted to ask, what is your sort of platform ideas around how city council or the local government can better support renters' rights? A lot of people seem to be experiencing abuses by landlords. Rent raises that are not, being properly communicated, or that are not in their leasing agreements at all. And it seems like landlords feel very comfortable with doing these things because there are no consequences or repercussions toward these sorts of actions.
That's something that I'm going to have to research. Yes, that is terrible. They should not do. I have rental property, and if they call me something's broke, I go fix it, or I get somebody to fix it. So I don't understand why you wouldn't do that, because you want people paying rent, and if they leave, and you can abuse people like that, and eventually they get tired of it. So I'd have to do more research to find out what the current statutes are and what the city is allowed or not allowed to do, because the city, I know, can't directly go in and do anything in a personal dispute. And I don't know what the requirements are for a renter. Even though I have rental property, I've really never had that big of I've had several problems, but nothing that took legal action. So I'd have to find out more on both sides. And I know a lot of times people are just scared because they're afraid they're going to get kicked out, but you got to know the law. You got to have your rental agreement, you got to understand it, you got to know what the law is. They can't just come kick you out. They have to file, they have to go to the courthouse, and you can actually live there up to 2 months without paying anything. There's a process to be evicted. Everybody should, first thing is to know your rights. I would be supportive of doing something, but I need more information on what are the responsibilities and liabilities that the city has. Public shaming works pretty good too sometimes.
We'll support that,
Yeah. the same.
And so as someone who owns rental property, could you explain to us what are the current, because I know in some places, you know, you have to have like a renter's license to be able to rent. I don't think that's the case here.
No.
You only need to have like a business license maybe. So what?
No, you just have, in the downtown area, you just can't have more than, I believe it's 3 unrelated people living in a house. So you can't have, like, I've got a old house that's like 2 apartments.
Yeah.
So I got 2 people. Well, one of them can have a friend move in with them, but the other person can't.
So you don't have to have like a renter's license or a business
No.
license to rent property?
No.
So right now, there's no real way like to hold landlords accountable, like maybe saying, oh, if you have repeated offenses, your license will get suspended.
Yeah, you could file a complaint. It depends on what they're doing. If they're just randomly raising the rent every month, you should go talk to a lawyer. Find somebody that's not going to charge you up front. But I guess you're right. I don't think there's any way. There's no organization to go to complain to or file it that I'm aware of.
But there's no license.
But that's different now. I've got one little house. That's different than if you have an apartment complex. Then there may be different criteria for something like that. Because I just have a house.
Right.
So because they have such a large footprint, that may be different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know a couple of things. So, Brookhaven just passed within the past, I don't know, year or so, some requirements that if you own 4 or more rental properties, that you have to have a license, a business license, because you're not just like Joe Blow off the street renting a property now. You're a business owner. So through that business, that also gives accountability. So if you're not upholding your end of the stick as the property owner, you can get fined by the city for violation of your business license. So that's one thing that would be lovely to be able to get passed locally, to be able to hold some of these larger land property owners accountable. I mean, I'll name drop if we need to, but
That would probably fly here. I don't know if it would fly right now with who's sitting there.
well, that's why we got an election, right?
But yeah, but I think, I know, like Mr. Reynolds and I, we don't hang out, but we know each other, and we talk about things, and we have similar views on stuff. I'm sure he would support that. And
He was.
Jeff Wells, I know him in passing, and just at the last forum that they had at Georgia College, I would go out on a limb and say I'm pretty sure he would support that as well. And I'm sure
He's District 6. Yeah.
Pendergast, knowing her views on other issues, I'm pretty sure she would support that too. So if you get us 4 in there, all you need is 4 votes. But I would bet money, and I'm not a betting man, that if all 4 of us got in, that would be passed.
And then there's also Gwinnett County, just on July 31st, passed the ordinance that allows for code enforcement to do interior inspections. So this was
Well, none of our code enforcement are certified to do anything.
Yeah, that's another concern.
So even if that was in effect, they couldn't do it.
Yeah, we'd have to.
So
hold
that's
them
another,
accountable
that's an
first.
issue that,
They didn't even have a car for
Yeah.
a while for it to even go out to
That's not
inspect.
surprising. That's probably why they didn't come out and check again. But yeah, so, I mean, if we can get better code enforcement, because I know there was also some conversations about hiring more or new code enforcement officers, so.
well, you would think someone would have brought this up over the past 10 or 15 years, wouldn't you? Yeah. But I'm gonna say again,
Places
the
they-
4 people I just mentioned, I'm pretty sure all of me, I know I would, and I'm pretty sure they would support that. I know they support the transparency, and why wouldn't they support this too? I feel pretty, I'm 100% sure they would. I can't see them not doing it, or I can't see a valid reason not to.
Anybody else have a question? Go ahead.
Just for the record,
Yeah.
GMC is a minority serving institution. It has been designated as such because it has over 56%. HBCUs were created developed prior to 1964, when a lot of people that looked like me could not go to colleges, were not allowed to. The laws were against them going to it. HBCUs were established to take care of the population of people, and you know, a lot of time were private, and they did that on their own resources within the community. And then along the way, you know, as laws were passed and policies were passed, the federal government has given funding to HBCUs. That's why they're probably going to be in a bit of trouble in the near future. Another thing we need to worry about, because you see how Harvard and places like Cornell, Columbia, places like that who have endowments that are over billions of dollars, and the administration is currently attacking those institutions. Once they start attacking HBCUs who have, you know, historically been disadvantaged or underserved, then that's going to be a problem that would probably take out, you know, the history of the HBCUs and them operating in the future.
I can't do anything about other places, but GMC has a cadre of donors, black and white, and as long as New Day is associated with him, it doesn't matter what he does.
Now, I hear you.
GMC would be good for a while. They could do fundraising all the time, and they have fantastic. Like that gentleman that left 100,000 or more. There are people that do that. I don't know the people, but I know of. They have left GMC millions of dollars for specific things, like to take care of something, to buy football equipment. They've left endowments, and GMC is steady seeking. And every time GMC graduates somebody, those people, they stay in contact with those people.
Yeah. Yep. It was just a point of clarification,
Yeah,
because,
for that clarification,
you know,
HBCUs.
yes, HBCUs endowments are like in the, you know, millions, where you have other schools that are in the billions for various reasons. So
They don't get
it's
that.
great. No, but it's great that they're being supported. But I just wanted to make the
Got a
distinction.
question, Mr. Lee?
Is there some board members at GMC that get elected to them?
Mhm.
Yes.
But isn't when you give money like that to us, isn't that just a write-off?
Yeah, you write it off up to a certain amount.
Yeah, I remember when I was in Georgia Southern, one of the teachers or whatever gave students, gave the school $1 million, but it was just a write-off for taxes.
Yeah, but that's you don't get like $1 million tax write-off. It's a percentage thing.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't. It's not like a free. Not like you give it, and it's not like you miss it. They just have enough that they don't care that they lose $1 million. You still get taxed. You just don't get taxed as much. You can write some of it off.
So one of my questions would be, especially for District 2, being that a large part of not the entire the Southside is considered a food desert. What are some things, in your opinion, that could be done to help increase and better the food access for communities like District 2?
Well, it goes back to bringing in industry and increasing income, and then you have people that can start their own businesses. They can start a little mini market. You know, people get involved. You own your, you know, if you rent, you don't want to break up the property behind it. But if you own your house, you want to go grow stuff. Are you able to save money and build equity in your house so you can take out a loan to open up a grocery store? There's farmers around here: Wilson County, Washington County, Putnam County, Twiggs County, Jones County, Hancock County. They all grow stuff, and they go sell it in Madison, Oconee, all the time. They go there all the time. Why don't they come here?
Because it's not profitable. That's
Well,
what
no.
they said. That's what I've heard.
Well, and that goes back to my original point. We have to increase income, and we have to increase home ownership. And the only way to do that is to create jobs that people can support themselves. That can happen here. Central State, my God, look how huge that property is. It should be. We should have 10 companies out there right now. How long has it been?
10 years.
It's been longer than 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. This should have started then. There shouldn't have been sitting around talking about what you're gonna do. They should have started doing so. They wrote a pretty charter and then nobody followed the charter. They got a couple $1 million in the bank. What are they doing with it? Don't do no good sitting there. You gotta use it to do something, advertise, seek something, but you gotta seek businesses out. That's what GMC does. The new, General Caldwell did it when he was there. The new guy, McHenry, they go up to the state capitol all the time. You know who else is up at the state capitol? Businessmen. You talk to people, you network. That's what we gotta do.
Any other questions before we move on to the next part of the agenda? All right. So in the next part of the agenda, we're gonna have Liam Landy come up, and he's gonna talk a little bit about some of the work we've been doing in terms of going to city council, we also go to the county commissioners meeting, but just the necessity of being involved, knowing what's going on, but also following up with accountability, public pressure, and taking action on some of the things when you raise concerns at these different forums, and why it's important to do that. Liam, the floor is yours.
Hey y'all.
Hi,
Hope y'all been enjoying the meeting. So, yeah, let's talk about accountability. I believe Fidela said it earlier, that it doesn't really matter what people say leading up to these elections, right? It matters what happens after. And that's part of why we don't endorse any candidates. We endorse positions. We have our platform. We've given you information about what candidates have said about our platform. But it's up to us after the election to hold them accountable, to make sure they stand on what they said previously. And even if they didn't say they would do it, we should still be putting pressure on them to try to get them to do it. And that's why it's important for us to be involved, to be engaged, to be going to the city council meetings, going to county commissioners meetings. We should be knowing what's going on with the Central State Housing Redevelopment Authority, I think is its full name, something like that. We were just reading earlier that apparently that committee is under investigation for fraud currently. I didn't know that, and that points to a bigger issue of transparency in local government. Part of the reason why we need to be there to hold them accountable, to push pressure on them, is because
The current one or the previous one?
the
LRA, the current one or the previous board.
with the Central State. I think it's currently going on.
No, is it up for investigating the current board
He says it's the current
or the
board.
previous board? They're different.
Probably the previous one.
Okay.
Yes, I really don't know. Like I was
Okay.
saying, I didn't know about it, and we were just looking at an article
Okay.
before the meeting started. But transparency, right? It's a big issue. Transparency with Central State, transparency with City Council, transparency with county government. In my honest opinion, the biggest issue around transparency is money. What are they spending their money on? There's no clear rhyme or reason for why they're spending the money they do. Mayor Copeland spent $14,000 over her budget in 2022 to 23, I believe it was the year, and she consistently spends over budget. Walter, since we're talking about the mayor, her opponent has also spent over budget. Why is it that they're doing this? What is it going towards? And so we need to stay on them. We need to keep lighting fires under their asses for, excuse my language, but we gotta.
They said you
keep
could
the pressure
access
on
that.
them.
They said you could access that.
You can access the budget. You
I
can
know. That's my point.
Yeah, the city's website has zero search component. You can't search it, so you have to know where to go.
And that's part of the issue.
Yeah.
And that's why, like I said, we don't support candidates, but we support policy. We have been openly supportive of Councilman Reynolds' Milledgeville Transparency and Accountability Act, because it would require this information to be easily accessible. Information like what members of the council vote yes and no for, their attendance records to the meetings, what they're spending their money on. And this extends beyond just the city council. It would include all the boards like planning and zoning, Central State, all that. And yeah, like you were saying, none of that information is available. Now, the last time I spoke, I mentioned the over budget issues. And funnily, the mayor went to respond, but the city attorney told her not to respond. I think that's interesting on its own. But she suggested that all that information could be available. And so there is open records access, open records as in their documents, their expenditures, are accessible. Now it costs money to get that. It's something like $100-something to.
It's about $175 depending on how many you need.
Yeah.
It can be upwards to 200 depending. There's a cap on the amount that they can charge. It has to be a reasonable amount, but they can charge.
But see, that comes with its own issues, right? Part of why we need this transparency ordinance to be passed.
So is that paper documents or just to view it online?
Yeah, they'll no, they won't print them out for you. They'll email them to you.
So they could put that online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, city
For
council
sure.
themselves can put that information online.
And they
won't.
should.
Wow.
And all this is to say is we have to keep on and we have to be active. What we're doing right now is really just the beginning. This extends, but else been talking about long term, this extends past November 4th. It goes on for years possibly, but we have to stay on them. We have to keep the fire going and keep them held accountable. Now to the open records, interestingly, we do have both the mayoral candidates' expenditure reports. They're like 500 pages each. They're huge. They're a pain to read through. But we will be making that information public. As we go through it, we want everybody else to be going through it, to see what their issues there are, if there are any issues. I don't want to say that there are. But if there are any issues, we want to be able to see that and find that out. And if we find that, we should be bringing it up to them, asking them why is this going on. So, I don't know if the sign-in sheet has been passed around, but if y'all want to get that access, please write your email down because we will get it to you. But that's about all I have.
Yeah, so, and the reason why I kind of wanted Liam to touch on that again is because a lot of times, you know, in my experience, you find that, you know, everybody has something to complain about, not everybody's going to do something about it. You know, so we have committed ourselves to do something about the things that we complain about. And, you know, interestingly enough, that comes with its own challenges. And as he mentioned, and as we've mentioned several times throughout the months in which we've been organizing these meetings and the platform, we do not endorse candidates, we organize around issues. Now, that has come with its own set of challenges where, you know, narratives and stories about who we're endorsing and what political parties we're affiliated with have, you know, flown around and you know, tried to taint and color the work that we do. But I just want to make note of something. Back in March of this year, we had a meeting here to present this 30-page document, the People's Program, which we wrote directly in response to Project 2025. The reason I say this is because one of the many colorful narratives that has been flying around is that we are Republicans, that we are Trump supporters, that, you know, because we've been invited to sit down with certain candidates, you know, that is somehow indicative of our political beliefs or whatever. Yet we are currently the only organization that has put together a platform for the community on multiple occasions. So I think that, one, says a lot, but two, to Liam's point, it's something that we are committed to long term. You know, we always hear that young people are not involved, young people are not interested in what's going on, and then when we get interested, people don't like what we have to say. So, you know, it's like, well,
Not
if
like
you
that.
do or if you don't, right? You know, but regardless, saying all that to say that, one, I want to thank everyone that has come out today, and I hope that you all have found this information and this meeting to be very useful. Again, we're not here to tell anybody who to vote for, how to vote. That's a decision you make when you go to the polls between now and November 4th. But the most important thing is that we have an engaged community and that we have informed voters. Because, again, we do not endorse candidates, me personally, because I don't believe in the system, I don't believe in politicians, but I believe in people. And the only way we change things is if people push for things to change, right? And one of the things I say very often is a good politician cannot outwork a bad system. but a bad politician will always take full advantage of it. And the only way a good politician can get things accomplished is if people are engaged and people are informed and people continue to put pressure for things to change, right? So we as people, I think we have reached a point in modern history where we are going through things that many folks in the past have been through, have been able to organize through, and have been able to make it out on the other end. And now it's our turn to pick up the torch and carry forward with our own movement, our own organized way of addressing our issues, and not just leave things up to the people that we elect, thinking that after election day the work is done. The work really only starts after election day, because now you got to go show up to city council and hold these people accountable whether you voted for them or not. We are now just a little past 3, so we have some more time, but if folks want to stay and talk with each other, talk with Mr. Snider if he has the time. Again, thank you for showing up and speaking to the platform and speaking to your own priorities as a candidate. And so hopefully that informs those of you who may be residents of District 2 as to how one of your candidates is looking to represent you if elected. But I will go ahead and open up the floor for discussion and fellowship, and as we usually do, just talk amongst each other and meet new folks if we haven't met each other. But thank you all for showing up, and thank you very much, Mr. Snider.
I'd like to say, y'all have me on tape.
Yeah.
I'm saying a lot of stuff. You use that on me. If I get elected, I told you what I want to do. I told you what needs to be done. You got me on that. So use it.
Hey, I will show up with a projector too. So
I got you. I got you.
But yeah, thank you all very much, and thank you again, Ray, for letting us use your spaces.